every person who is charged with a criminal offense is entitled to defend himself in person or by a legal practitioner of his own choice.
Remember that an individual is entitled to remain silent.
Every citizen in Nigeria is entitled to maintain a private life.
You are approaching a military checkpoint or a police checkpoint without knowing that it's against or it offends them and subject you to a frog jump. That is wrong.
Hello and welcome to the program Justify Nigeria on Advent Cable Network Nigeria Television, reaching you from Abuja. Thoughts, conscience and religion has been endowed by the Creator towards humanity for their betterment and enjoyment of life. This simply means that all men are at liberty to think and have a personal conscience. In fact, it would be correct to say that any act of us that deprives a person to express his or her personal opinion will be contrary to equity, good conscience, and natural justice. In a country such as Nigeria, which is populated with diverse cultures, norms, values, and religions, one may be tempted to ask on whether or not Nigeria has compiled with these natural laws. Available facts and happenings in this nation have shown that people are being forced to join or accept a particular belief and religion, either directly or constructively. It is, however, interesting to point out that the fact that Section 38 of the 1999 Constitution as amended captured this issue and addressed it properly and satisfactorily. With me in the studio to discuss this and more issues relating to this is Barrister Mrs. Dikocha Faith C. She is the principal partner, FC Dikocha and Associates, also a human rights activist, legal officer, National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, NAPS, in FCT and North Central Nigeria. Barrister Faith Dikocha, you're welcome to the program.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Oftentimes we talk about the Constitution as regards to the fundamental human rights, which is being captured in Chapter 4. But our center point of this discussion to our viewers is being centered on Section 38. Okay. Now, please, can you, in the betterment and understanding of our viewers in its entirety, briefly explain what Section 38 is all about? What is it in a nutshell?
Thank you, sir. It's a very simple section that is very clear, unambiguous. It actually tells us, as citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that we have a right to freedom of thought, freedom of conscience, freedom of religion. That is to say, you have a right to do what you want to do with regards to religion, conscience, and thoughts, in as much as it's not an illegal action or activity. That's just what it is.
That's in a summary what it is. Now, we discovered that some schools and pupils, when they go to school, maybe in a boarding school or secondary school, maybe that school, the proprietor, maybe is a Christian, for example, a Muslim that owns that school or that establishment. And maybe during morning devotion or one thing or the other, that is being populated by Christian or Muslim, depending on the circumstance. And people that is not in a particular faith are being forced to join them in devotion. What is the position of law on that?
Well, when it has to do with registration of schools in the first place, that's the platform to begin.
Okay.
Schools are being categorized. If you're a secular school, that is to be noted at the point of registration. If it is a faith-based school, it's to be
Before
noted.
you continue, where do you register? Because you just brought something now. You talk about registration to make it a legal entity.
Yeah, legal entity.
Where
yes.
do you do that registration?
When you talk of accreditation to run a school, in FCT, for instance, we have the Department of Quality Assurance, which accredits you to run a school or not. Okay. Now, at that point of registration, aside the normal Corporate Affairs Commission registration, which is a very important requirement before running a business in Nigeria, you must give them information as to the kind of system you want to run.
Okay, so after registering in Corporate Affairs Commission, you have to also register with this body.
Yes, Department of Quality Assurance must give you the permission to run.
After registering,
yes, they have to give you the permission to run. It's part of the whole sum of being a school owner. Okay. So now, if your school is registered as a faith-based institution, and a child is being enrolled, let's say it's a Muslim entity, you don't go there to say, I want to practice my Christian faith, because it's faith-based.
And you saw it before now enrolling your
Yes,
child.
before enrolling your child, you are aware. Okay. Now, but if it's a secular system,
okay,
Section 38 says no child should be compelled to practice any religion aside that approved by the parents.
Barrister Faith, please, please. Okay, now,
Okay.
If I'm about to enroll my child,
Yes.
and it's clearly stated that this is a Muslim school,
Yes.
or they are being populated by Muslim, or a Muslim is a proprietor,
Yes.
and that school is very good, I know that school will give my child what I'm looking for,
Mm-hmm.
and I enroll that child in that school. During their prayers and all that, will she or he be compelled from what you explained?
Well, from the provision of the Constitution,
yes,
we could actually say you don't have a right to make that compulsion.
yes,
to compel
but
a child.
having the knowledge before you enroll,
So it will be assumed that
that's
you are already
presumption.
aware.
Okay.
You're already aware if a system is as an Anglican school, for instance,
like
or
we
a
have
Muslim.
AGGS, we have AGGS here now.
Very well then.
Okay, then
Now,
a Muslim now enrolls the child. So during morning devotion, will it be compelled, or will it be presumed to be compelled, if I may use that statement in law,
Yeah, that's
now for the Muslim to join them in their devotion?
it will be out of place because a school is a place of discipline. So it will be out of place that devotion is ongoing and you're sleeping in the dormitory. Whereas you were aware from the beginning that this is a Christian institution. But having said that, we also do know that the Constitution, as it provides, does not give you the power to compel anybody, a student, to practice your religion. But just like I said, if it is a secular institution, that can actually fly. But the most that can happen in private institution that is faith-based, they could ask you, okay, you can take your child and leave.
Okay, that's right, because you are aware of the thing, and that is all what the law is saying, that you must be aware before you now, okay, and you cannot seem to benefit on your own wrong, because it's different from
He
when
who
you are
comes
not
to equity must come with clean hands.
I think that's one of the maxims
Yes,
of equity.
yeah.
Thank you very much, Barrister.
Thank you, sir.
Now, does any citizen of Nigeria have the right or to change his or her religion?
Perfectly. We have a right.
Maybe you don't get it very well. In a family, for example, that is a Muslim based, and maybe a pastor talked to somebody, and within himself or herself, he or she convinced and accepted Christ, and now decided to become a Christian. Does he or she has that right?
Of course.
In a situation by which the parents now wants to, even to the extent of killing, because we have several cases. In fact, there's a one I handled some years back that where the father wanted to even to kill her. If I will have to maintain enforcement of her fundamental human rights, what is the position of law? If the person decides to change a religion, maybe the parents or the relatives is now hunting, what is the position of law?
I think we need to understand the provisions of Section 38.
Please enlighten us more on that.
Section 38 is very clear. And remember, the Constitution is supreme.
To any other laws?
Every other law. And any law that seeks to contravene any provision at all of the Constitution is to the extent of it's a contravention, null and void. Now,
Section
if you
1
look,
sub 3.
of course, if there is no law, there is bound to be anarchy.
That's right.
If, as a Christian, a child decides to become a Muslim,
or vice versa.
of course, if the child is up to 18 years, in Nigeria, you have to be up to age.
Yes,
good.
of course.
Now, an 18-year-old, let me just start at that point.
Because he's not a major.
Very well. Now decides to be a part of Islam. You don't have any right to say you cannot. It is totally against our law, and it cannot stand. So whether you are a Muslim
But
and want to become...
if the person is a minor, is 17 years below, can...
You know, when you look at that Section 38 of the Constitution,
Yes.
towards the end point, the lawmakers were clear when they said, for instance, if it's a school, you don't have the right to compel any child to choose a religion that the parents or the guardians are not in support. What do you think they were thinking about? Okay. They were making reference to
the minors.
To a minor.
Okay.
So they understood, of course, they are intelligent people. The lawmakers are intelligent people.
Draftsmen.
Good. So they understood the point that a minor, a 5-year-old cannot decide on anything. Okay. A 10-year-old, what does she know, or he? So at the end of the day, it now boils down to what does the parent, or what the parent want for that child. Now, if that child is up to 18 years, the law comes to play. Okay. You have guided this child through Christianity all his life or all her life, and then she becomes 18 and feels like, I think I should choose Islam. As a parent, you have no right to compel that child to remain a Christian.
Wow.
It's totally against our laws.
Wow. In fact, more on this. We're going to take a short break now. When we return, we'll have more with Barrister Dikocha Faith to explain more on this. Right. Please do join us again.
Hi.
You are welcome to the speaker on Advent Cable Network Nigeria ACNN television, reaching you from Abuja. Knowledge is power, and the ability to acquire the knowledge and possess the power is something most palatable. For one to acquire this knowledge, it is expected that such individual must go through the rigorous processes, pass the required test, and finally come out knowledgeable. The same procedure is also applicable when one wishes to acquire any educational certificates. But a nation where talks write election results for professors to announce will always produce presidents, governors, and lawmakers with questionable credentials and certificate. It is funny to note that one is expected not to be below 26 years of age, with 2 to 3 years of working experience, with a minimum of second-class upper division or second-class lower division with masters before he or she may be considered to work in a private sector in Nigeria. Why to become a member of the State House of Assembly, a governor, members of the Federal Parliament, that is, House of Representatives and Senate, or even President of this country? The only educational qualification that is required of you is school certificates, popularly known as school certs, or its equivalent. I wonder what the draftsmen were thinking when they were drafting this section of the Constitution. The reason we oftentimes produce presidents, governors, deputy governors, lawmakers, ministers, and even diplomats with certificate or questionable credentials is because the meaning of its equivalent as captured in the Constitution is not just bad, but incurably bad. According to Section 318 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, its equivalent, among other things, is defined as, and I quote, qualification acceptable by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, unquote. Lord, in your mercy. If you are still wondering why Muhammadu Buhari in 2015 and 2019 was running helter-skelter when he was asked to bring his certificates, this section of the Constitution may be just the reason. In fact, I just say that Buhari was in a state of pandemonium until eventually the Supreme Court delivered him out of the certificate dungeon. How many of you remember the late governor of Imo State, who also served as the president of the Senate, Chief Enwenem, when inclusion or removal of the letter S in his name, whether it's a Van or Evans, was a subject of litigation in Nigerian courts? What a shame. It was the supporters of Adam Oshomole during his term in office as the governor of the Edo State said that since he can speak English fluently, there is no need of asking him of the credibility of his certificates. What a country. Tinubu's Chicago certificates, Salisu Buhari's Toronto certificates, Ayo Fayoshe's Ibadan certificates, Stella Odua's master's degree certificate in St. Paul's College, Virginia, USA, Senator Demola Adeleka's certificates, and self-conduct of convocation at the floor of the Senate by Senator Dino Melaye to prove that he actually graduated from ABU Zaria after spending 7 years in a 4-year course, are not only laughable, but also infantile. APC and Bayelsa State governorship candidate is still fresh in our memory. I do not think David Lyon and his supporters will ever forgive his running mates. The list is endless. Also in Edo State, we heard that Godwin Obaseki was involved in certificate scandal. Yet, up till now, no press conference has been called by him to explain to Edo people, and indeed Nigerians, why there is a discrepancy in his certificates and credentials. I dare ask, why are there always irreconcilable differences in the certificate of our politicians? My main concern in all this Edo State political saga is that the same PDP who accused Godwin Obaseki of not having genuine certificates in the past have just welcomed him with open hands and branded him the name Edo State Messiah. While on the other side, the APC that crucified Ezeyam in 2016 made him the party governorship flag bearer in Edo State in 2020 election. Nigerian politicians, make sure that they fear God though. From all this, the speaker wished to affirm that until the citizens of this country rises up and legally and legitimately challenge their political leaders and ask questions of the credibility of themselves and their credentials, Nigeria will continue to produce leaders whose questionable integrity and personality will continue to generate the multiplicity of certificate instead of certificates. It is at this point that I have chosen to rest my case on this issue. My name is Anoze Chinomso. I just want to speak. Glad to know you are still there. Thank you very much. Barrister Faith.
Yes, sir.
We are still here with you.
Yes, thank you.
Before we went on break, you are trying to say that when a child is 18, that and chooses to be maybe a Christian, wants to be a Muslim, or a Muslim wants to be a Christian, that the parents or the guardian have no right because it's now a major. It's different from the minor, just like you cited in the Constitution. But where the major, so to say, is still in the parents' house, guardian's house, eats the guardian's food, the parents' food, and all that. It's still on that. It's a major, yet it's a minor in character. No, what happens in that circumstance? Because the parents will say, this is my house. If you know you'll be under my roof, or the guardian, go to the church that I go. What happens in that circumstance?
The question now becomes, did the Constitution say if the person is still in your house, he has no right?
So it's like the Constitution is the ground norm. That's just what they're saying.
The Constitution did not say because that child is still in your house and he's 18 or she's 18 and she wants to be a traditionalist, a pagan, and you say you cannot because you're in my house. Who are you to dictate the law? The law is clear. There is no hard and fast rule to it. Of course, the most you can do is to send a child out of your house. An 18-year-old should go and find your square root. If I should use that word in quote. Try to find a way of making life better for yourself. You are grown. But the fact that you are in your parents' house doesn't give your parents the room to say because you're under my roof. That's what is obtainable anyways in this part of the world.
In fact, there's a situation where somebody will be going, the same Christian baby is going to Living Faith, for example, or Anglican, and the child decides to go to one particular, maybe House on the Rock. Say, no, I'm an Anglican or Roman Catholic, you must join me. In that circumstance, from what you explain, it's still wrong.
It's wrong. It's wrong.
Because we are looking at the same faith now.
No, the same faith. It's still the same faith anyways. Because if you are a Pentecostal and you decide to be a Catholic, it's still the same faith now. It's Christianity.
But the Constitution talks about thoughts, conscience, and...
Your thoughts. What's the thoughts in changing denomination?
Okay, that
it
comes to play now.
You are being a disobedient child.
Okay.
You are being disobedient. You are being irresponsible. That's the truth. You are being irresponsible. And we are Africans. Okay. So in this part of the world, you respect authority as far as your parents are concerned.
Thank you very much, ma. Thank you. Now, from if you look at that section quite well, section 38, maybe if we can cite it, but let's go ahead. Does it mean that, because it talks about religion, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Conscience and thoughts. But it's a faith, I ask you.
Yes, sir.
Educate our viewers. Does it mean that that section is encouraging secret society in any way?
Not at all.
But is secret society not a religion?
It's not.
Okay, what qualifies an association to be a secret society? Let's start from there. So
if you look at, there are so many authorities to that effect.
Okay.
Under our laws. And the Constitution is also clear in that regard. You know,
I think registered trustees against Ijesha is one of the locus classicus that's also said that, I think, is it Oboni or that said that is a...
refined Oboni fraternity and all that.
Yes, yes, I think it is a... Go ahead.
Now, but when you're talking of a secret society...
Yes.
The law has been clear on that. There are so many issues that have arisen in the past to which the judges, our judges have laid it to rest, in the sense that they define secret society to be an association. Of course, they have the interests of their members at heart, but most of their objectives contravene equity and justice. There are laws. I think when we get to, if you had time, I would have read a particular law for you, where secret society was defined by the court. Now, let's look at the case of PPA, that's Progressive People's Alliance, versus PDP.
PDP.
Yes,
can you give us the citation?
2009.
2009.
Legal, Law Pavilion Electronic Law Report.
Okay.
4865, Court of Appeal.
Very well.
The court defined. What then is a secret society?
All right.
A secret society is defined as an organization that keeps activities secret. In other words, it is an organization that requires its members to keep all or some of its activities secret from non-members. Okay. Now, it went further to say that secret society include any society, association, group, or body of groups, whether registered or not, that uses secret signs, oaths, rites, or symbols, and which is formed to promote a cause. Let me keep going down. You understand it. The purpose or part of the purpose of which is to foster the interest of his members and to aid one another under any circumstance without due regard to merit, fair play, or justice. Without due regard to merit,
I think it's
fair play, or justice. Now, when people are in a group, just like the law says, whether registered, some people, of course, can give an objective.
Because that of Ijesha was also registered, yes.
What the Corporate Affairs Commission knows when registering other party of Kama, they look at your objective. You can put a very beautiful objective, and they get you registered. Now, when you are now registered, everything you do contravenes the law. There is no justice, there is no fair play, there is no merit.
And there's this secrecy, mention secrecy.
Secrecy.
That is not only for your members.
It's against the law.
So it's a secret society.
Yes.
And just like you say, signs, some of them, they make signs, and it's only their members that knows that sign. It then means from this now, Christianity and Islam, they are not secret society.
There's something else I didn't tell you. He said, to the detriment of legitimate interests of those who are not members. All those things they do to the detriment, their members might be protected, either way, but what of those who are non-members? Everything they do is to their detriment. The law
Please cite that case again, very important, so that our viewers will...
Progressive People's Alliance versus People's Democratic Party, 2009, Law Pavilion Electronic Law Report 4865 is a Court of Appeal decision.
See, a Court of Appeal, not even High Court.
There are so many decisions in that regard, but because of lack of time, we can't go all into it.
No, I think this is enough. So what it means that once any association that has something like secret sign to the detriment of others, that is a secret society.
It's a secret society, and the law does not permit it.
Okay.
Anything that is in contravention with equity, good conscience,
and natural justice
is wrong.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, is there any exception to this rule, this section? Because we're making this section 38 as our ambit. Is there any exception to this rule at all? Maybe, okay, just like we said, you are in a house and you decide not to go to church, and your parents says that you are a major. Well, this one is not that you must go to the same church with me, but he said no, because you don't want to go to church, no mosque. Now, I don't want to be a pagan. Every Sunday, I'll be at home. Every Friday, I'll be at home.
Of course, there's, just like the law is, there's exception to every law. The general rule stands, but there are exceptions. There was something I answered initially when I said when a child is being rebellious, it's a different thing. You're living under the roof of your parents. They're not stopping you from worshiping God, but at the same time, you want to rebel. You want to say, I don't want to attend your particular denomination.
And the law does not give heed to that.
Of course, anything that is wrong is wrong. So everything, exception to this law, will be on account of circumstances of every case. Yes. It all depends on what, just like the initial information I gave you concerning taking your child to a school, knowing fully well that that school is a faith-based school. And then when they say your child should join the morning devotion or do the necessary rites of prayer for the Islam, you say, my child will not do it. The most that can happen is that you pick your child, and then you see people begin to go to court. They contravene my right. They wrote me out of the school. What is your problem? The court, the judges, I'm sure, would ask you, were you not aware, ab initio, that such a thing exists? We'll have to see your registration forms. At the point of registration, you were aware that this is faith-based. So why are you making a mountain out of a teacup?
So you didn't come to equity with clean hands?
You did not come.
Of course, in that circumstance, the judge will just strike out the matter, and that's it.
As God pleases.
Thank you very much. Now, if peradventure there is any way somebody infringe on this right, or even the general right in Cap 4, Chapter 4 of the Constitution, are there possible ways of enforcement of this right?
A whole lot of ways. But the main point is, when your right is being infringed upon, Chapter 4 provided for what you should do. You can seek redress in the court of law. The High Court actually have the jurisdiction to entertain fundamental human rights actions.
Okay.
So you can actually seek redress in the court of law. And the court, of course, a lot of times, the court look at it and they see that your rights...
Which court will be the first instance? For example, can somebody go to... Okay, magistrate court also...
No.
They don't have that jurisdiction.
They don't have. It's the High Court. It must be at the High Court.
Then appeal, then Supreme.
Of course, if you're not comfortable at the High Court, you can proceed.
Okay.
It keeps going until you get to the Supreme Court.
So after
Supreme, if the judgment is against you at the Supreme Court,
then it's God. Thank you very much, Barrister Dikocha.
Thank you,
We
sir.
want to appreciate you so much.
Thank you, sir.
I hope next time we call you, you oblige us to come.
I'll be
We
here.
really appreciate you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very
God
much.
bless.
Wow, viewers. From our discussion so far, you will agree with me that the controversy and ambiguity of Section 38 of the 1999 Constitution is a res judicata. From what Barrister Faith have just done, it has been rested. The issue has been rested. No one should compel and confuse you to join any religion that is not your choice. You are free to join any religion or association, but make sure that it's not a secret society, or else the wrath of the law will deal with you accordingly. Fellow citizens, never you forget that you still have rights to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. So says Section 38 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Until we come your way again, same time, same station, this is Chinomso Anozie urging you to be a law-abiding citizen. And bye for now.